Man. All right. Everybody that's tuning in, I apologize. This is my first time doing a Zoom meeting, and I was trying to do it through YouTube, but I didn't realize I had to verify my account. So I dropped the ball on that one. So I apologize. But we're gonna go ahead and start this meeting here on Facebook instead of my YouTube channel. I'm gonna see if I could repost this recording on my YouTube channel after this. So anyways, here we are, y'all. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
So let's start off with, Tony, what is that?
I said doing good.
I'm gonna check. Sorry, one moment. Okay. So okay, I can see it live on my phone right now. Prentice says hello. Prentice says hello, and then we got Jason. Sorry, one moment. So okay, I can see it live on my phone right now. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Says hello. Prentice says. All right, so we got some people with us right now. I guess let's start off with getting to know each other. Let's start off, I guess, with Tony, and then Andrew, and then Caleb, and then myself. Tony, what's your YouTube name? You know, where are you from? How'd you get started at PRS? I know it's a lot of questions, but you can start off with whatever order you want.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks for having me, Chris. My name is Tony. I'm known as the Four Gun Guy. I'm coming up on about 100 YouTube videos, and I've been doing those over about the past 3 years. I started off in 3-gun about 5 years ago, shot that for a few years, and then I was on YouTube one night, saw PRS and got excited about that, so went into centerfire. And I shot centerfire. I'm still shooting centerfire, but I shot centerfire for about 2 years and then got hooked on the whole 22 long rifle stuff. So really glad to be here. Thanks.
That's awesome, Tony. What's your YouTube channel name? The Four Gun Guy, right?
The Four Gun Guy, yeah.
Awesome, man. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm Andrew Robertson. I shot my first local match, I think at the end of 2017, and then and I think you and I shot that match together, Chris. I think it was October of 2017, or maybe your first match was in 2018. And
yeah, Jacob's Plain, I remember that.
Yeah, and I shot so well that I almost quit because I got 11 hits that day. Out of 70 or 80 or whatever it was. But then, you know, I decided not to give up on it, and I've been having quite a bit of fun with centerfire ever since. And then I just bought a professionally broken Voodoo 22 from one of our local champions here. So looking forward to getting into the 22 rimfire game. I also do some YouTube videos under ARob's Precision Rifle Vlog, and I've been enjoying doing that. I think I have about, I don't know, 13 or 14 videos. So, and I'm a big fan of the Four Gun Guy YouTube channel, and I enjoyed the blooper video earlier this week also. So, yeah, looking forward to hanging out with you guys tonight.
Yeah, man, I remember that match. It was, I think it was hot that day too.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah, my first match, I got like, I think top 2 last place, or top 3 last place.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't last place.
I wasn't either, and I didn't zero a stage.
Yeah, I was shooting a Savage with a 6 Sour whiskey, second focal plane. Man, I shot the wrong target a few times. So
yeah, me
it
too.
wasn't fun. All right, Caleb, what about you, brother?
What's going on, guys? Caleb Pulliam. I don't have a YouTube channel. I just watch all these guys' YouTube channel and learn all I can. As far as PRS, this was my first year in PRS. Got started with center fire and didn't really shoot any matches, just practiced a lot, trained a lot, and shot out that barrel. And then during the time waiting on a new barrel to get spun up, I found Rimfire PRS and dove headfirst into that and haven't looked back.
That's cool, man. And you're the production champ for PRS Rimfire, correct?
Yeah, 2021 PRS Production Champ, barely, barely. David from Florida, he gave me a run for my money for sure. Yeah. I don't think he's watching, but David, if you see this, good job, man.
By the way, everybody, Prentice says hi.
Hello,
Everybody
Prentice.
knows who Prentice is.
Hey, Prentice.
Prince.
I'll be at the Loophole Steel Classic in January. That's my first 2-day match. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, and got Darren DeBoer says hi. I met him in Kansas. He shoots for Team Bergara, so he's with us here tonight and says hi.
Nice.
Cool.
Great dude. He also has a YouTube channel. Let's see. Jason Coker is with us here today. Joel Quintanilla. You guys remember him from the match? Yeah, from Mexico. He's also
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
so
Awesome.
if you're just tuning in, I was gonna post this in my YouTube channel, but we had some technical difficulties, so here we are in Facebook for now. And in the future, hopefully I could host this on YouTube. But anyways, let's go on to our next topic, which should be Caleb.
What about you, Chris?
Oh yeah,
Introduce
I forgot.
yourself.
What about me? I can't skip it, I guess. So my name is Christopher Maniquez. A lot of people pronounce my last name, so it's Maniquez, not Maniquez, but I'm not gonna correct you if you mispronounce my name, because I've been correcting people ever since I was in school. So I got tired of it and I just let it roll. My YouTube channel is Texas 22 Jack. Named it after my son Jack. So I just came up with a random name. It took me like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to come up with a YouTube name. I probably should have thought about it more, but it is what it is. Texas 22 Jack is what we have right now. I'm originally from the Philippines. My dad was in the Navy in the 60s. So I was a US citizen born in the Philippines. Ended up moving here when I was 10. So thankfully I didn't have to go through like the whole green card process or US citizenship process. I was basically a US citizen. I had no idea until I moved to the US, like that I was a US citizen. So that was pretty cool. I grew up in the Philippines, lived in Florida for most of my life. And then I've been in Texas. My wife and I have been here in Texas since 2016. I got started with PRS in 2018, the fall of 2018. My first match was in August of 2018. That's the match that I basically bombed. I came like top 2 or top 3, last place. I was shooting a Savage BA. Like I thought it was the best rifle ever. It's like, so, but it worked for me. I was shooting a 6-hour whiskey, 5-25, which I thought was an amazing scope. And I had no idea that I would be going deep into this. And I've been shooting rimfire for about 1.5 years. I fell in love with shooting rimfire about 1.5 years ago when I first shot Prentice's match in Navasota, and I've been hooked ever since.
Very cool. I remember that Savage rifle, by the way.
Yeah, I sold it last year.
Yeah, I remember. It was the brown one.
Yep, I had it painted. I changed the barrel and everything. I upgraded the whole thing. So I ended up just basically upgrading the whole thing except for the action.
Yep.
I should have I should have went with the buy once, cry once route.
Yeah, me too.
It is what
Yeah.
it is. I
I
enjoyed the
think we all
process,
eventually get
journey.
to that point.
So
Yeah.
it's all good. Let's speak with okay, let's go to Caleb. So Caleb, how long have you, so I know you've told us how long you've been shooting for, but I guess what got you into what got you into shooting 22s? Like what was the process like for you?
Well, I've shot my whole life, and my first rifle was actually a CZ 452. I think I was 10 years old when I got that thing, and that's honestly what I grew up shooting and learned how to shoot with. I mean, that gun's probably got ballpark 30,000+ rounds through it of just me plinking. I grew up on a farm, so I mean, just walking through the woods and shooting and just having a good time. And so grew up doing that, grew up hunting and everything. Always loved shooting. It was always a passion of mine. Then joined the military, did that for 6 years, then got out, then went contracting. And I was overseas and watching videos on YouTube about shooting sports because I wanted to get back into the shooting world, and found a PRS YouTube video. And I was like, man, that looks like fun. That was like a lot of fun. Then I saw the barrier to entry, which is the cost. I was like, oh man. Then I found the production class. I was like, well, that's perfect. So let me do this as budget minded as possible. I was planning on buying a Bergara anyway, but there was a raffle going on for a Bergara Premier Ridgeback in 6.5 Creedmoor. I bought a $40 ticket and I won. I won the Bergara and got a Vortex Viper PST Gen 2. Caught that one on sale, threw it on there, and I just shot the crap out of that rifle. I mean, I shot it and shot it and shot it and shot it, probably way past the point of shooting out of a barrel because I didn't even know you could shoot out a barrel. And then I was planning on competing, and then the barrel obviously needed to be replaced. So through meeting people at the range, you learn a lot of things. Watching YouTube, you learn a lot of things. So they're like, oh, you probably need to replace that. So I'll replace it. And that was a long process. So during waiting, I found PRS 22. I was like, man, I grew up shooting 22s. That'd be easy. Well, it wasn't easy. So I got a CZ 457 and went and got my butt kicked a few times and decided, oh man, if I'm going to be any good at this, I need to practice a lot. So
let me interrupt you real quick, Caleb. So was your first match at Triple C when you shot with Andrew and I for 22?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not the only one that got their butt whooped that day. I got my butt whooped, and Andrew did too.
I got my butt whipped the worst.
So honest question. After that match, were you like, man, this is super hard, I don't want to do it? Or were you like, oh man, I love the challenge?
Oh no, man. So it was, if anything, it just, it stoked the fire. It was confirmation that this is something that I really, really wanted to do because I enjoy shooting so much. I enjoy challenges. Sorry, something just popped up on my computer. I need to get rid of it. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no, it just confirmed that I wanted to do that. And Chris and I met and kind of linked up for some training, and
Frozen.
that just, you there?
Yep, I can hear you. Sorry. Before you move on to our training, I have a few more questions about you or about that match. Do you remember how high the winds were in that match?
My memory is not the best, but I know you guys remember it was pretty bad. It was
probably
up
like in the 20s, 30s,
Yeah.
even at some point.
It probably gusted in the 30s because I remember the last stage we had was on the tower, and it was a 200-yard stage where the targets progressively got smaller, kind of like a KYL.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were holding, or at least I I dialed 2 mils into the scope and was still holding an extra 1.5 mils just to get an impact. So it was fun.
It was not beginner friendly. We had
No,
a
it was
few,
not.
yeah, we had a few new people in that match, and I don't think I've seen them ever since, dude.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
well, not to mention what's his name? Sean, I think. Isn't he the
Sean
match
Story?
director?
Yeah.
Yeah, he picked some pretty sporty targets for that day. I mean, real sporty.
Like 2 MOA, 1 MOA targets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
high winds.
yeah.
Man, I just remember that was probably the toughest, or one of the toughest match I've ever been a part of. And to be honest with you, I was worried for the beginners, especially like I'm so glad that you took that as a challenge and that you didn't shy away from after that match. But like, man, I'll tell you what, if I was probably knew, I was like, man, I'm gonna stick with like shooting 3-gun or something else that I can actually, hit more impacts. But
And I think honestly for new people, because I got lucky, I got in a squad full of you guys, good people. And I think even if the match doesn't go your way, as long as you're in a good squad of, people that are fun to be around, uplifting and
Right.
everything, I think a new shooter will really respond to that and come back. So if you're out there and you have a new shooter in your group, maybe go out of your way to, be nice to them and help them a little bit, because it goes a long ways.
yeah, that's one of the things.
Yeah, that's the way we're gonna.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Tony.
No, I was just saying that's how we're going to grow the sport.
Yeah.
Is support the new shooters, support each other. Like you guys have done with me in matches. I've had some bad stages, but with the support of the people that are with you, asking, hey, what did you do? Why do you think you missed? What can you do differently? Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm gonna share this. I tried to share this with the other groups. Let me go ahead and share this with the Rimfire pages, because apparently it didn't share. So let me do that one moment. We're gonna pick up with where you left off, Caleb. Just give me like maybe a minute real quick.
Okay.
I guess you guys could keep talking, and then we'll once I post this on the other pages, then we can pick up with Caleb.
Right. Yeah, I agree with Tony's comment though. I think that is the way to grow the sport, is continue being good ambassadors of the sport, and don't be the guy with all the secrets. If it weren't for people, helping me along, it would have been completely frustrating and too much of a learning curve, I think.
Yeah, I think, I've had conversations with both Prentice and David Lott about, difficulty of the matches and stuff like that. And, it's tough to be a match director. They've got to find that fine balance that provides a challenging course to top level shooters, but also provides enough, challenge and frankly a little bit of ease for a new shooter, right? You want to give those new guys a little confidence that when they shot their first match, hey, they may be down in the lower third, in the lower 25%, but they hit some targets, right? I was out there today practicing at CCC complex, and I was actually shooting the car. And, you know, when I got done shooting that car about 5 times and the wind had picked up, I really realized that thing is a fair stage. And why? Because you've got 2 small targets on either end of that thing. And then you've got 3 times decent targets inside the car. I'm sorry.
I heard that, but I'm not sure where it came from.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, my point was, it's stages like that, right? Or when you do have that KYL at 200 yards, right? You have a large target, smaller, smaller, smaller. And to me, that allows you to differentiate between who's going to win the match and who's going to not win the match, or be in the middle of the pack, or even the bottom third or the top third. But I like the way that they've set up their matches, and I'm kind of doing a little pitch for Texas Precision, because I like that, right? You don't want to become the PGA or the Major League Baseball or the NFL, because then you'll only have 10 or 15, 20 people in your matches, only the top, you know, the cream of the crop. That's why not all of us are on the PGA Tour, because we just go out there and have fun. Some of us want to just go out and have fun. Others want to do well. So it's hard for them to put together a fair match, and I think they do a good job of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's been a lot of good match directors. You know, we're pretty fortunate to have who we do have in Texas throwing the matches together. Although that I think Caleb would agree with me, that 22 match that Sean hosted at Triple C, that was his first 22 match. That was probably like a master's level. That was the AG Cup of 22. I don't know if Chris would agree.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I agree. That's the hardest 22 match I've ever shot. Even harder than the Rimfire Finale a few weeks ago. So we were able to get more people on the audience, because I tried to post it on the other groups, but I finally was able to get it posted. So we started about 20 minutes ago. Again, I apologize for you guys. I tried to tune in on YouTube. I had some technical difficulties, so we're gonna do it here through Facebook, and I'm gonna try to repost it on my YouTube channel after this. So we're talking about Caleb right now, and so Caleb, you just want to pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I think I was talking about how you and I linked up earlier in the year and started training together a little bit, and how much I learned from you, and just basically progressed quite a bit after we started shooting together, and just started meeting people, training more, watching a lot of content. I think X-Ring, Is Your Six Covered, several of those YouTube channels are the earlier ones that I found. And then later on, I found Tony's before I even met Tony. I found his channel, which was a lot of fun to watch. And now Chris's. So a lot of good content out there, a lot of good content.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I guess coming into 2021, you're mainly wanting to shoot production, right?
Yeah, so I came in to the sport just as budget minded as possible. And that was really the main reason I went into production class. And then as the year went on, I just kind of stayed there with 22. I didn't stay in there with centerfire. Now I shoot open class with centerfire. But with 22, I stayed in production class, and it really just became a thing. I wanted to try to beat everybody with CZ, you know.
So what's your goal originally, to win the national championship? Or did you want to start small? You just wanted to win the region first?
Oh, are you talking? Okay. So earlier in the year, I just wanted to get in the sport. I just wanted to get better, do better, constantly progress. I mean, you know how it is. It's always fun to go out there and shoot a little bit better than you did the last time you were at the range.
So at what point were you like, okay, I actually want to win this whole thing?
I think it was, oh man.
And if you don't remember, that's totally cool.
I think it was when I went and shot my first match down in Navasota and just saw the level of competition there. I was blown away. I was like, oh man, I really need to tighten up. I need to get better. And I was like, if I want to be competitive, I need to, set goals. And that goal was to win the production, not only the production class, but I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I wanted to win the whole thing, but that didn't work out.
That's always the goal, man. Even if you're in production, like you still want to win the whole thing, want to beat all those open guys. There's nothing probably more satisfying to you than beating open guys who shoot voodoos.
And that's the thing for those out there that I'm not saying, I'm not going to crap on anybody or anything, but I never felt that I was at a disadvantage with a CZ.
Right.
For those that are shooting CZs or Tikas or Bergaras or Rugers or anything like that, I've yet to feel like I'm at a disadvantage. When I don't perform at the level that I expect myself to, it's on me. It has never been on the gun.
So are you saying I can't?
My personal case.
Are you saying I can't buy points?
I don't know, man. Ask Prentice.
Are you telling me that? Are you telling me that I'm the problem and not my gun?
I don't know. I think sometimes we gotta look in the mirror.
I'm offended, dude. I'm gonna kick you out of my live stream. No, I mean that's such a good point. Because I started shooting a CZ 457 just like you did at first. And my first 22 match, I came in second place. And it felt real good to beat all these voodoos. You know what I mean? And I would just agree with you. Like, I'm not, I'm probably not the best shooter in the nation, and there's shooters that are better than me. But like the biggest hindrance that we have is ourselves as shooters. Mm-hmm. And you could buy all the top gear that you want, top scope. I got the Zico or Voodoo, but if I don't shoot well, it's not because of my gun. It's going to be because of me. And for you, Caleb, I saw you win one of the matches here in North Texas. I think it was your first match in seniors place. And I saw you win that match. I wasn't there, but I saw the scores. I'm like, Caleb Pulliam. I shot with him like a few months ago. How the heck did he win? Brand new shooter. So that was pretty cool just seeing that.
Man, the stars aligned on that day, man.
Yeah, man. And I totally agree, dude. Even though you were shooting production last year, like you totally had the capability to win and shoot better than a lot of the open guys and even win matches. So well deserved and a good season, man. Good job.
You too, man.
Well, he knows how to read wind.
What'd you say, Tony?
He knows how to read wind. I said he knows how to read wind. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he's got some secrets up his sleeve.
Yeah, and now I hear he grew up on a farm, so I'm sitting here wondering, how did he get so good at that? Yeah, he's walking out in the fields every day for 8 hours a day with a 22 rifle, watching the wind blow, and he grew up without a kestrel. The guy doesn't even need one. Yeah, awesome.
Oh, that's all Kentucky windage.
You said you grew up in Georgia.
Yeah, no. I grew up in Georgia on a farm, and that was what we did. We worked, shot, and that was it. It's fun.
So what are your plans for 2022? Are you planning on shooting production, or are you going to move into open?
So that's to be determined on a couple things. If I have to, I'm going to shoot my production rifle for the first few competitions until I decide on a new setup. The plan is to shoot open class. It's just dependent on a couple of factors, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yep. Awesome, man. Are you gonna change your barrel, or are you gonna keep the same barrel?
So I'm not gonna touch that gun. I'm gonna leave that gun the way it is, the MTR setup, just in case. And I've got another 457 action that's got a Lilja barrel on it. Mm-hmm. So depending on a couple other things, that'll be the open class rig.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Dude, congrats. I'm so proud of you, bro. Especially like with us training this
Yeah,
past
it
year
was
and seeing
awesome.
you grow. It's amazing, man.
No, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, y'all helped me the most, man. Y'all practicing with y'all, getting all your insights, that really, really helped a lot. And the competition with you too. I mean, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Just
Yeah,
trying
Caleb, dude, you beat me. You beat me a few times already.
honestly, I think I've only beat you
At
once or
least
twice.
2 or 3 times at
I
least.
think once or twice. I have smoked you in training, but only in
Oh
training.
yeah, I think you've spoke me. You spoke me in most of our trainings.
But hey, that doesn't count.
Buzzer
That
makes a
doesn't count.
difference.
That doesn't count.
You have the capability to shoot like and win matches, dude. So just keep it up, brother.
I think anybody does if you train enough and get the right mindset, because you know how it is. If you don't put that bad stage behind you, I'm guilty of it. I'll be the first one to tell you. I am at least every match. I'm guilty of it. If you can't put a bad stage behind you, you're gonna have a couple bad stages in front of you.
Yeah. Andrew, Tony, do you guys have any questions for Caleb or anything you want to say?
Yeah, I had a question for him real quick. So what gear were you using that was qualified under the production class this year for 22? I'm not familiar with 22. I'm gonna shoot it this year, but I'm just curious, what kind of scope and everything. What was your setup?
So the PRS Rimfire production class standards were MSRP of $1,500 and below for the rifle and scope only. Anything else accessory wise you put on there didn't factor into that cost. So I was shooting a CZ457 NTR and a Vortex Venom 5-25. And at the time of shooting those, the MSRP was below that. But like I was telling y'all earlier before we went live, they updated their prices for next year and they went up. So unless the PRS raises their price limit, that gun will no longer count as production class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. Interesting.
What did they raise the price to? I'm curious.
Caleb,
The
go ahead.
the MTR in particular went up to 825 MSRP, and the Venom is now at 700.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Tony, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, so I've watched you shoot, you and Chris both, and if I could say one thing about how you guys shoot and what I've learned from both of you is you keep things simple. So for someone just getting into this, let's say they want to get in, guys, you just talked about the rifle, the scope, the limits there. What do they want to buy? What do they want to purchase to show up at the match with their first match? Understanding, right? Because this is all over Facebook. We've all commented on this. Understanding that they don't have to buy everything, right? But at a minimum, what would you say they should, bring to the match? Let's say they've got, let's put it this way. They have $300 extra to invest beyond the rifle and the scope mount and those things. What should they invest in?
So before I go into that, I'll just do a shameless plug for Texas Precision. If you want to go shoot a match, all you have to bring is yourself, because they do loaner guns and they'll give you ammunition and a kestrel and put you in a squad of guys that know what they're doing and can help you. So if you really want to shoot a match and you don't have a gun or anything, just show up. If you do have a gun, rifle, scope combo, and you said $300 extra.
Yeah, let's say 300. Just to get started.
Just
right?
to get started.
Yeah.
Do they have support bags, shooting bags or anything? Are we assuming they do not have shooting
Nope.
bags? Well, I guess they could borrow that. That's a good question. $300, what extra could they get? Personally, if I only had,
But you answered it basically, right? It's when
well,
you
yeah,
show up to a match, a lot of guys will have things you can, I've let people borrow my bags. I've estimated some dope for people. It's been pretty close. I guess it's a loaded question because I think a lot of people think that they have to show up with everything. And
right. You definitely do not have to do that. And now that I think about it, honestly, if you have a rifle scope combination, personally, I would actually ammo test. I would use that $300 to ammo test to find out what that rifle likes. That's just me. Because like you said, you can borrow bags from people. You can download free applications on your phone for ballistics and
Yep.
everything like that. Somebody's going to have a Kestrel to give you wind values and atmospheric values. So you can plug that into your ballistic solver. So really just figure out what your gun likes as far as ammo, practice, maybe spend the money on range fees and practice. Go dope out your rifle out to, the longest, well, preferably out to 300 yards or as far as your range allows. And yeah, practice, I would say.
Somebody commented, what about a bipod or a game changer?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some basic stuff, right? But again, bipods, okay. You don't need a SkyPod if you're just beginning,
No.
right? I'm going to plug my channel a little bit here. I've got a video coming out on 2 bipods that I'm comparing. Interesting results, but
Plug into your channel all you want, Tony. Go for it, dude.
but no, but that's that's where that's why I say it was kind of a loaded question, because I think there are some basic things. Yeah, you need a bipod. I'm going to say get one off of Amazon for now. Get a $40 bipod that's going to fall apart on you in 6 months. You're not going to have it in 6 months, but you're going to start with it, right? Get a bag. Yeah, I think that is something I would invest in. But to your point, Caleb, show up to the match. I'll let you use my Weebad fortune cookie. I'll let you use my any other bags that I have, and so will you, and so will Chris, and so will everyone else, and then find out what works and watch what people do and watch what people use, and then you can go from there.
Absolutely. And to your point on the cheap bipods, I wouldn't call it a cheap bipod, but as far as relative to other bipods you see in the sport, a Harris like Chris uses is a fantastic option for, what are they, $100, Chris? A little over $100?
Yeah, a little bit over $100, but this one's from eBay. I think it's like $20.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using a Harris for
Go to
like
Sniper's Hide,
years.
right? Sniper's Hide.
Mhm.
Yeah, honestly, that's been, Sniper's Hide this year has been my gold mine.
Yeah.
I mean, people are always posting stuff up there. And if you're kind of staying on top of it, seeing what people are posting, and the other forums on Facebook, well, I don't really want to get anybody in trouble, but
Yeah.
Facebook has helped a lot.
Right.
Yep.
What about for those of you guys that are wanting to, let's say you have the money in the world, what would be your rifle of choice? I guess let's start with Tony.
Well, I started with, so I didn't learn anything from 3-gun, because 3-gun, I started off with a simple, like a 9mm pistol that I had. Then I went to a Janik pistol. Then I ended up with a $3,000 Panfolio pistol. So my whole point of the story is I did the same thing with the shotgun. I didn't learn. I didn't do the buy once, buy once, cry once. I kept buying things that didn't work, and then I finally got to the thing that worked. In the center fire, I made one jump. So I started with a Bergara BMP. I think it was the B14 or whatever it was. Great rifle. I still have it. My wife shoots it. But after a little while on that, I said, I got to make the jump. And I had a gentleman put one together for me, impact action, bartline barrel. And then I went to a Razor Gen 2 scope on that. And then I ended up with just upgrading the scope. I'm an MDT guy, as you can see, so I love their chassis. And on Rimfire, I just wanted to see if I was going to like it. So I started with a Tikka T1X, loved it. I think I had a Strike Eagle on it. And then when I was bit, then I said, yeah, I want to go up to something else. So I went with the Voodoo with the Zico on it. And I had some issues with the Voodoo in the beginning. I'm not going to lie, in fact, but the thing's running flawlessly now. And I sent it off to Lapua Testing Center. They tested it, the right ammo, and it's working out really well for me. So yeah, that's the route I went. But to all of your points that you've said earlier, there are so many options out there. I wanted a very similar feel between both my centerfire and my 22. That's why these are both the exact same rifle, same trigger pull, same magazine type, AICS mags, basically. So that was my goal. My goal was uniformity. So when I went to the 22 range, trigger pull was the same. When I went to centerfire, trigger pull was the same. Scope was the same. I'm used to everything. I don't have to think about what I'm shooting, this week. So, but anyway, that was my goal. So that's how I ended up with this stuff.
That's really good, Tony. If you don't mind me asking, for your how much total do you have on your 22 rig?
Oh,
And
man.
Yeah.
And I'll answer the same question too, and give you guys the
Yeah.
answer.
So I'll tell you.
Right for the
I'm going to
throat.
tell you. I
Gloves off.
love. You know me. I'm a story guy, so I'm going to tell you two stories. One story was about the Zico stuff. So I had a Gen 2 on my centerfire, and I just bought the Zico for my 22, and I'm out in the backyard. My wife's out there with me, and she looks on my rifle and she goes, and this is going to tell you why I can do all this. And she goes, why are those two scopes different? I said, well, because this one costs twice as much as this one. And she said, yeah, but aren't you wanting to do get standardized? I said, yeah. She goes, well, then why don't you just order another one of those? So that's the wife I have, right?
Nice.
That's awesome.
So I sold the Gen 2 and I bought another Zico. And then when I was getting into the 22 stuff, she asked me the question because she knew how much the centerfire cost. And she said, well, so 22, isn't that a lot cheaper than centerfire? I said, no. I said, they're both going to be about the same amount. So yeah. So, when you're doing this type of a setup on either one of these, both these rifles are about 8,000 a piece with everything on them. That's the scope, the barreled actions, the triggers, the scope mounts, all that stuff. But I'm not a multiple rifle guy. These are the only two competition rifles I have. This is it. I don't have 5 of these and 4 of these sitting in a safe, and that's just me. So that's just how I roll there. And then also the things that you can see that I've got the AccuTac bipods. These things aren't expensive. They're in fact, I saw them on sale the other day, $255. So I'm trying to put the money into the things that really are going to make a difference every time I get onto a prop. So yeah, that's what I've got in them. You probably have the same or more.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah.
I guess here, I'll pull up my Voodoo. I got the same scope that you do, except I got the Impact 3 foundation.
Right.
And Voodoo, basically the same thing, except for I don't have the MDT chassis that you do. I just have the foundation.
Yeah.
So it's about 8,000 on this thing, roughly. And I just want to put a disclaimer. I am sponsored by DI Precision, but not fully sponsored. I still have to pay like 70-80% of my rifle cost. So a lot of people think just because you're sponsored, you get free stuff. That's BS. That's not true. They eventually want to fully sponsor shooters, but they're a fairly new company. They're not there yet. So I still had to pay my dues and buy this rifle with my own money. And even though I got a discount, it still cost me money. So yeah, I got this.
Yeah, that's a sweet rifle.
I love it. What about you, Andrew? I know you're shooting mostly center fire. Do you?
Yeah. Well, I was until somebody got me into 22.
Oh, who is that?
Yeah, that
person.
Guy by the name of Chris. He sold me a professionally, I'm not going to say a lightly used, I'm going to say a professionally broken in Voodoo that he got from the factory after he got his DI rifle. But yeah, so I started out initially with a Tika CTR chambered in 260. That was before they had figured out that 6.5 Creedmoor was probably the way to go in the States. So I shot that until I shot the barrel out over about, I think, two years or so. No, 3 years actually. Then I swapped the barrel and went with the 6 Creedmoor, and I really fell in love with that cartridge. And then, you know, and I had a McCree chassis on there, and I had a Harris bipod, and it worked great. But I wanted something that was more geared towards the precision rifle sport, and it was a little bit more balanced. There was nothing wrong with that gear, but I just wanted something that was a little bit more competitive. And I went a little bit different than what everybody else is doing, but I like a 60-degree bolt throw, so I went with the Terminus Zeus because I didn't want to buy a barrel vise, and it just has the 2 set screws. And you know, there was a little bit of concern that maybe I would get a point of impact shift because it's just hand tight, and then 2 set screws on the side that honestly you only turn finger tight. I've had, and Chris can testify to this, no issues with zero on that thing or accuracy, right? I mean,
I've shot it before, and I came second place with his rifle, shooting his rifle.
Yeah, we hot racked a rifle, which was brilliant, in 6 Creedmoor, right? So he got second place on that match. I got 5th place, and then we shot a month later at the finale, the Triple C
finale
press in Fort Worth,
yeah,
which is
there's 2 Triple Cs. Yep.
Yeah, well, there was. Unfortunately,
it
doesn't exist anymore. But so then I think the one time I beat Chris was at the finale. I think I finally beat you with my rifle that time.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, and but yeah, so now I'm on my 2nd barrel with that one, and originally I was running a Vortex Razor Gen 2. I started out with a Bushnell 6-24. It was a front focal plane, but there was no zero stop, but it was a great beginner scope. Really helped me learn mil radian values, because I'd always been an MOA kind of guy. And then I upgraded to then to an Athlon Chronos, which was also very good. But I just wanted to try the Razor, and I got that. And then I decided to just go completely all in. So I recently bought the professionally broken in Voodoo 22, and I put a Zico with the Impact 1 on that. And then I went with the Zico rings on it. And then I put a Tangent Theta on my Zeus foundation combo. And I love both scopes for the disciplines that I shoot with them. So I feel like the ZCO parallaxes down at the closer ranges a little bit better. for 22. I feel like it's spot on. And also, if there's no barrel mirage, I can't tell a difference in glass quality. There's a slight edge, in my opinion, and I'm probably going to step on a lot of people's toes with the tangent theta when dealing with mirage.
Get out of here.
All right, see, I'm kicked out already. I got kicked out already.
No,
but,
I've heard that very thing before. That's why a lot of guys go to tangent theta.
yeah. So I put 60 round or 65 rounds through it in practice yesterday. And you know, it was a very warm day yesterday. I think it was about 80 degrees when we were shooting at the time we were shooting. And you know, it was me and my friend shooting. So we shoot a simulated stage, one of us and then the other. And it was just back and forth down the line all day at Fossil Point, because they put in some new, it's a range up here in Decatur. And it was great, by the way. And but the barrel was getting hot, and I saw no mirage, which is good in that case, because you don't want to see mirage at the barrel, because it's going to give you a false wind reading, or it can at least obscure what you're thinking you're seeing. So I had no issues with it. I think that was the perfect call, and I could focus on the wind down range, which was great. So I think I dropped 3 shots yesterday. So now I got to get that tuned in with my 22. So we'll see.
The tough question is, how much is your centerfire rig, if you don't mind me asking?
With the scope. Oh, and I use I really love the Atlas Cal for both.
Yeah.
That's my go-to bipod now.
By the way, the reason why I ask these things is for the audience to kind of have an idea. Like, if they want to go all out, this is how much money you're probably
So right, so you can actually get the Gen 3 XR at a discount if you look around, but which I did, but you know, I'd say altogether, you know, I probably have about 8,000 in my center fire, and then I don't know, probably 6,500, 6,000 maybe in the 22.
Yeah, about 6,000, 7,000 probably in your 22.
Yeah. But I like
Caleb,
the price of ammo for the 22 a lot better.
Yep, for sure. Caleb, I know you don't have a crazy like 22 rig, but the shooter is an awesome person behind that 22. If you could build your dream 22, what would it be? And could you tell us a little bit about the centerfire rifle that you shoot? And then again, same question, like how much did you spend on it?
So dream rimfire, honestly, that's a tough one. I like them all, honestly. I love the idea of a 700 footprint 22. I really do. I'm just, you know, my heart's set on CZ. And honestly, next year, if I could have my dream setup, it would be a CZ 457 with a Lilja barrel, but with a heavy contour barrel. And they don't have them for CZs. They only go to 900,000 for the Liljas. It'd be cool to have like a 1-inch straight taper, or maybe a little over. That'd be really cool. As far as centerfire, kind of like everybody else. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to ask. I'm new to 22. What would be the advantage of the taperless for 22? I know what it is for centerfire, and we can get into that later. But I'm just curious your thoughts on why you'd want that as a new 22 shooter.
So one of the advantages of the 700 footprint 22s is the larger barrel contours and the overall weight of the rifle. Like with my 22, I have that thing weighted down as much as you can, almost as much as you can fit on it. And it's still barely at 14 pounds. I mean, it's like 13.9 with a bipod.
Yeah.
And with a thicker barrel, you know, a larger receiver, you can get a lot more weight on it. You know, you get all the 700 footprint chassis, stocks, everything like that. you can get a lot more weight up front and get that balance point. And a heavier rifle for me is also a lot steadier on a barricade.
Yeah.
So that'd be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that insight. Thank you.
And as far as centerfire, I have kind of like everybody else. I wish I would have bought once, cried once, even though I did get a $40 rifle to start with. But I have an impact action 737 Bartlett barrel chamber. Well, I was shooting 6 Creedmoor, but next season I'll be shooting a Dasher. So, and then for a scope, I have a Razor Gen 2, and then my stock is a Manners TCS. And as far as total costs, and that's the other thing, guys, if anybody's watching, if you look around enough, you will never pay retail for your equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you shop deals, if you sign up for all the emails for all these different vendors, you can hit their sales. Sniper's Hide, you can always find lightly used equipment for a much better price. So MSRP, I'm not 100% sure what my rig would cost, but I have about 4,000 into that rifle with the scope and everything included.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at 4,000.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really good. $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris, the cost thing is a good conversation, but we should put it in perspective of other sports people play, right? Or other sports people are part of. My brother-in-law has a $80,000 Tahoe that pulls a $100,000 ski boat. And, I mean, if you look at it as far as like playing, I've brought up golf a couple times, and I haven't played golf in 3 years ever since I went down this rabbit hole. But a good set of golf clubs is $2,000 to $3,000 when you put in the woods and the putter and all the wedges and everything else, and a golf bag and membership fees and all that. So, if people hear us talking about these rifles, now again, the cost of the rifles doesn't include the ammo you're going to spend, the reloading equipment that you're going to, put out there if you reload. But still, to me, it is not an expensive sport. And it's another one of those sports similar to the others that you can get into at a reasonable price and have fun, right? Mm-hmm. You can get into it and say, look, I'm a whole different vintage than you guys are, right? I'm not in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. I'll stop there. But, I'm out here to have fun, and I do have fun. And if I can, my goal this year, your guys' goal is to win this thing. My goal is to be in the top 20 in every match, right? That's my goal. And if I can do that this year, I almost did it last year, but if I can do it this year, I'll be a really happy camper. And I guess my whole point is, from a money perspective, I just don't want people to think they have to go out and spend $8,000 on a rifle. Caleb just proved that point by being the #1 production shooter in the country with a production rifle and a scope on it, right? It's this really does come down to, it's the Indian and not necessarily the ARob.
Yeah.
I saw Caleb beat $8,000 Voodoos all season long with his $1,500 scope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't give back the time that I spent with a rifle and scope combination that cost probably, $1,900 because I learned a lot on it. And if you can learn to reduce your wobble zone on an improperly balanced rifle, you can do it a lot easier with better equipment. And my recommendation, to go along with that, Tony, I think go on any of those forums or not Facebook groups that people sell their used gear, because they're chasing the next best thing. Yes. And buy it at a pretty significant discount, right? because they're trying to move
Yeah.
things fast to get the money to move to get into that next best thing. And you know, I'm not. I'm gonna stick with the gear that I have for at least a year, because I value consistency over, like, for instance, I bought some of the Hornady A tips. And I saw your video on the Hornady A tips, because it's impossible to find the burgers that I want right now. And honestly, I don't
Yeah.
think that it was a diminishing return on my investment. Well, it's not an investment, it's an expense, but you know, and I'm not knocking that bullet. I
Yeah,
hope no one
right,
hears me.
right.
But I chose to buy the one-way ELDs that I could find that would last me for 2 seasons, based on the barrel life that I should be able to get, because I value consistency, and really knowing what that bullet's going to do over, yeah, I have the best newest thing, and always having to learn something different. I'd rather just be confident. I'm in my 40s. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm starting to become resistant to change. So I wanted to buy the best equipment I could at the time right now. You know, I'm in a fortunate spot right now in life. But, you know, if I didn't, then I'd probably, you know, be very happy with a Vortex Razor, or a Bushnell. I would probably go with a Bushnell right now, you know, in a CZ.
Those
Mhm.
Bushnells, they track really well, and they got the new XRS3.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a
I
nice
used to, yeah, I used to have the XRS2, and I think I won my first match with the XRS2. And those scopes are amazing. Those Bushnells, I'm impressed with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I didn't mean to go on a tangent there.
No, no,
but
I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And
that's good stuff.
and honestly, it's kind of tying in with a theme I'd love to see us take forward. You know, Chris, Caleb, Andrew, I'd love to be able to get together with you guys and talk about the basics of this stuff. Because let me tell you something. No one ever taught me when I started center fire, because I did that before 22. When I started center fire, no one taught me or talked to me about finding the center of balance on your rifle, how to load into a barricade, how to use a bag properly, how to, it doesn't, you don't have to have a super rifle to get the basics down. And that's what I feel sometimes people think the rifle is going to do for them.
Yeah.
And it's not, right? I was out there today with a buddy of Lee, and Lee's got, I want to say it's a CZ, but he's got an extended rail with scuba weights on it. That's what he uses to balance the rifle.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get that. They don't get how to get in the proper kneeling position. They don't understand how to get behind the rifle, how to shoulder it, how to stand, kneel. Those are some of the basics I think that would be great to do. Maybe another one of these on, or even a video on, for people getting into it. Get the basics down. Your equipment will come later, but if you can get your basics down on a production rifle and get steady behind it and understand where the center of it is and understand, you know, the wind, your scope, that's a whole nother can of worms, right? Half the people who buy this stuff to start with don't understand how to read the wind, take that into consideration, and either dial it or hold on their optic. So I think there's a lot of the basics we could really put forward to some of the beginning shooters to really help them out.
Yeah.
There's Grant.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have spent an extra $1,000 up front on training with somebody who really knows how to properly teach you. Or, you know, but I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet Chris and guys like.
Right.
Andrew, I think you froze. I can't hear you.
I'm probably missing a lot of people, but I mean, the point is, you know, if I would have just
Hey,
taken.
sorry, Andrew, I'm going to interrupt you. You froze for like 5 seconds. Could you go back to like a paragraph or two of what you're saying?
Yeah, I was just saying if I could have, can you hear me now? I just want to make sure.
Yep, I gotta
Okay.
hear you.
Yeah, I think if I would have, had the time back, what I would have done is maybe focus more on, instead of changing gear earlier on and trying to chase the next better scope or whatever, pay for some training from a good teacher, somebody who's reputable. I learned with Chris, and I was very fortunate to know him and have shot with Caleb and other really good shooters. But I think I would have paid, $1,000. You don't have to spend $1,000 for training. Matter of fact, I just took a course on modern day sniper via the internet for $200 to help with an issue I was having. And it was well worth the money. So you don't have to spend a ton of money for good training either. But just learning how to square your body up to the rifle, how to adjust the comb height and everything properly. That save you a lot of heartache up front. And then once you have the funds, because I don't recommend going into debt for a sport,
Right.
just slowly save up and get the best gear you can afford, and buy well used gear. Don't buy all used gear, buy well used gear from people you trust as they upgrade or they win a match and get something better. And go take a class from somebody reputable. I think DI Precision has some training too, right?
Yeah, Derek Webster and Chase Stroud, they do some training. You
Yeah.
got the JTAG crew in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You
I
have,
trained with Dan.
yep, Dan, our local friend over here. He does some training.
Yeah. Modern
Philip
day
Vallejo,
sniper.
yeah, modern day stopper.
Yeah.
They're amazing. And there's so much resources out there as far as training. And I agree with you guys, especially with what Andrew's saying. It's just like, I think we spend so much money on these rifles and we forget to invest in ourselves, in our training.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing.
Go for it.
Everybody should do themselves the favor. And, Eric Cortina just interviewed him, but read Lanny Basham's book With Winning in Mind if you want to be a serious competitor.
That's really good. I was
That's all.
looking for the book so that I could show it today, but
Yeah.
it's somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
It's now on Audible too, so you can listen to it if you don't want to buy the actual book.
Hey guys, we have a live question. Any of you guys can answer it. Jeff asked, could you guys share some places I could look for used good equipment? My son is left-handed and eye relief is different, so I need to buy two. I'd like more information on the 22s. I have a center fire for me, but now need a lefty. Thank you.
So I think Sniper Side is a good resource if you want to buy used equipment. Just make sure you vet whoever's selling
Yeah.
the stuff. There's
Yeah.
also some secret non-existent groups
It's non-existent.
on certain social media pages that you can ask Chris about. Not me, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Send me a, hey Jeff, send me a message.
Yeah, it's probably
and
the best
we can
option.
talk about it.
Yeah.
So as far as, I guess, let's as far as
If
training,
he's look,
go ahead, Tony.
oh no, I was going to say if he's looking for, more of like a rifle, it sounded like that's what he was asking about. Again, don't know where he's located, but I know there is DI. We've talked about DI Precision. I know David and Derek have used rifles that they're selling. You can do that. You can buy a used rifle. Just make sure, to Andrew's point, that it's a reputable company and you trust them. A lot of these places, I'm just going to say, a quote regular gun shop may not really care who they buy from or what they've bought. If you go through some place like ADI Precision, they probably know the people who they bought that rifle from or they're selling it for. They probably know a lot of the history of that rifle, of the person who's selling it. So you could probably be a little more at ease with the quality of the used rifle. So wherever you live, right, they just happen to be in Texas, but if you're out of state, try to find those types of people, and you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I know in Texas, at least our state, we can do private sales legally. So
Right.
as long as you're over
Yeah.
18 or over 21, I think you can legally buy privately. Hey guys,
Yeah.
I have to use the bathroom real quick, so you guys keep going. I'll be back.
You're gonna, oh man, he turned the what is it called? The prison over to the inmates or something?
Yeah, really. The inmates.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tony, what did you say your first centerfire rifle was? I didn't catch it.
It was a Bergara. I think
Bergara?
it was the BMP.
Okay.
And that was a great rifle. But again, again, here's the thing. I didn't realize that you needed a heavy rifle. I didn't realize that thing couldn't be upgraded well at all with a weight system. It didn't have any type of, it was their proprietary rail system. And so, that's why I said earlier when I asked Caleb about, the $300 or your first match or whatever, I've gone to the matches without anything just to see what the equipment looked like, like centerfire. My wife and I drove up there to a match. I didn't even have a rifle. And I was just talking to some people and looking at the rifles, and I took some pictures of them, right? Guys will let you take pictures of the rifles. Just ask them, say, hey, what's, ask people, I asked people, hey, who are the top shooters here? And they pointed them out to me, and I went over and I talked to them. They were nice guys. Asked them about what they were using, and then I started to do my research, right? And I just think there's a lot to it. You've got to do your research and really understand what's important for that sport. So
I don't actually, I said if I had to do it over again, I'd just stick with what I had. If I had to do it all over again, I would go to a match or a range where there were some top shooters at, and just say, hey, can I try that? Because it might be 50% where somebody says no. But yesterday when I was at the range, this guy said, hey, I'm looking at both of those scopes right now. I'm building a rifle. Can I look through them? I hate to even ask. I said, don't hate to ask me. Look through them, shoot them. I don't care.
Right.
So I think that's what I would do actually. And then figure things out. I actually had some bullets that I don't know, I would get a random flyer every time I'd shoot this particular kind of bullet, right? And in my old McCree chassis, because it wasn't balanced, it wasn't forend heavy, I actually bonded in those bullets that did not shoot well into the forend, so I got better balance, and it worked. It was so I didn't waste my $33 that I spent on that box, right?
I went to a academy once and bought those lead weights for fishing.
Yeah.
And I put it on my chassis, and that's what I used to balance my rifle.
I don't know if you remember, Chris. I used to have.
And you guys are big.
Oh, sorry. I used to have that steel rod that I attached to my Arca rail. It looked like a grenade launcher on the bottom of my rifle.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that thing.
But hey, let me ask you guys something. Let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
How many people looked at you at the match or at the range and laughed at you, or said that's stupid, or said, why are you doing that? Or I can tell you right now, it was zero. So these are great conversations, right? If you're new to this, do not think that you're you should be ashamed to show up with something that's not a voodoo with a Zico on it, right? Please don't be that way. Just bring a rifle out, have fun. We're all out there having fun. That's right. The winning nationals is fantastic. Caleb did a fantastic job. Chris, you're at the top of the region. You're near the top of the nation. But the point is, when we go to the matches, we just all have fun, right? The skills flow from that, and so that's why I really want to. I'm really excited about new shooters. Just come out, join us, have fun.
Yeah,
That's a really good point, Tony. Like, because the moment this sport doesn't become fun, like, what's the point of doing this, right? Like, this one, I'm gonna quit. If this becomes a burden and work for me, I'm probably gonna sell my stuff.
Yeah,
not do it anymore.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to throw in TX precision matches. Like, they have a lot of loaner rifles that you can borrow, and I think they also have ammo.
Yeah.
I know for any of our 22 matches, usually, if you ever see me, you could borrow my rifle. We could share it. That's the cool thing about 22s is you're not going to burn out the barrel, and you can share it with 2 or 3 people if you wanted to. And a lot of the guys, I mean, there's a few jerks, but most of the guys are gonna want to share their rifle with you or let you at least like handle it and check it out. And that's the thing I love about this sport. That's like I shot a little bit of, I didn't shoot 3-gun, but I shot a little bit of 2-gun in Florida. And most of those guys, to be honest, were jerks. At least in Florida. I don't know about Texas, but when I when I did PRS and long range 22s and center fire, like, these are some of the best people. I've met some of the best people. Caleb, you and I are friends. Andrew, you and I are friends. Tony, you and I are friends because of this sport. You meet some of the best people in this sport. And I think that's the biggest thing about these competitions is the people are like amazing. And, they're going to let you borrow their shirt off their backs if they have to in the sport.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the best things is, honestly, I look forward to going to the matches to see my buddies, have fun, compete, shoot the crap, and just have fun with each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got another topic that I want to ask you guys, unless you guys are still want to stay on this topic. If not, then we could move to a different topic.
No,
Go for it.
All right. I know, Andrew, you weren't at the PRS Rimfire Finale, but for Caleb and Tony, how was it for you guys? Like, how was day 1? How was day 2? Anything you want to share? I know this is a very broad question, but maybe pick 1 or 2 things, like maybe a highlight, 1 or 2 highlights, and maybe 1 or 2 negatives from the match.
So I'll go first just because it was. So day 1, we all know, really small targets, skyline targets, tricky wind, all that. It was fun, very challenging. Day 1 for myself was not good. I know a lot of people, it was that way. Day 2 was much better, but I started out on stage 10, which was the helicopter, and did really well. Got a 9 on that stage. And then, we walked all the way across the range and we went to stage 1, which was those 3 targets from 200. And then you go back to, you go far, near, near, far, far, near, going back and forth between the tank trap and the table. I zeroed that stage. Big fat goose egg. I could not spot my trace. That for me was the low point of the match. And then the rest of the match, it got better and better. And then day 2 was much better. But all in all, it was very fun. I think Prentice and David and Corey did a fantastic job with the course of fire, keeping it challenging but fun at the same time. And it was good. I had a lot of fun. And Chris Simmons, I mean, my hat's off to him. We all shot the same course of fire and he spanked us good. So
he did.
It.
question for you. So your second stage was stage 1, which you got a goose egg on.
Mhm.
So after that stage, how, like, I guess, what was your mindset after that stage? Like, how did you try to forget what happened before, or like, what did that look like for you? Like, if you don't, what was going through your mind after that and the rest of the day?
So kind of like we were talking earlier, don't blame the gun. I was like, okay, let me just go zero it just to make sure something's not off, something funky, just to take my zero out of the equation. Went zero. Zero was good. I just, honestly, it was me. I had a lapse in judgment. I had just come from that stage where you shoot from the helicopter, you're shooting a troop line this way, and then 90 degrees, you shoot exactly 200 yards on a KYL. Well, when we go across the range, it's almost the exact same direction that you're shooting. So I was like, okay, I had a perfect wind call over there. I'm going to carry that forward and see if that works out. And I checked it in my Kestrel, but I was behind the shoot house, which is right next to, where we shot. And it was just a bad call on my part. I made a bad wind call, couldn't recover, and just had to shake it off.
What about you, Tony? Anything you want to share? Highs, lows of the match, or anything in
Yeah.
your-
So, yeah. So, day one, I think I got a 2 or a 3 on the helicopter, Caleb. So,
Did you shoot it later in the day?
I thought that was our 3rd stage, I think. So, it was, the funny thing is I had practiced that the day before, and I smoked it, right? I mean, it was great. But that's another example, right? Is you do this. So day one, we end day one. I thought it was a very fair course. I knew the targets were going to be smaller, and they were. And I just had fun. Day one, I had a blast. And I remember getting in the car, I'm driving home. I got home, and my wife said, "How'd you do?" And I said, "You know what? I don't know. I think out of, what did we have, 120, something like that, people in that one?"
Yeah, it was about 120,
But I
150.
said, yeah. I said, "You know what, honey?" I said, I think I did pretty good. I said, I think I'm at least in the top 40. I would hope I'm in the top 40.
I remember you were beating me in that first day.
I was 13th. I was 13th on the first day. So, I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it. And now here's what happens. What happens? Tomorrow, I'm shooting on the home range. This is the range I practice on every single week, and the range I shoot on every single month. This is looking great, right? Now, I wasn't cocky, but I was feeling. And guys, it was like the pilot on the airliner of a 4-engine plane coming on and going, well, we lost 1 engine. You just lost 2 engines. Well, we just lost 3 engines. This thing, it just kept going downhill. I couldn't believe it. But I will tell you what, I kept my spirits up. I wasn't upset. I was just, you know what, this is how this goes. Sometimes the bar, sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar eats you, right? That's from a famous movie that I like. And so I ended up not in 13th place. I think I ended up overall in like 26th or something like that. So yeah, kind of a fall from grace for me, but I enjoyed it. I thought, and I told David that it was a very fair match. I thought it put everyone through their paces, and I think the right people came up, on top in the top 10. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Great company, by the way. The people from out of state practiced with. Well, they were there the day before while we were practicing. Some guys from Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. I think some from Michigan. All very nice people. So that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was cool to see all those people from different states come to that match. That was a big match. Here's the helicopter stage that we're talking about. It's upon start of the signal, you'll move into the front of the helicopter and shoot the troop line from near to far with one shot on each target. So you're in the front of the helicopter, you're shooting a troop line, and it's I think it's from 150 to 300 if you look at the targets. And then you're gonna move into the back of the helicopter and shoot the KYL. And if I remember correctly, the smallest target was like, I think 1 MOA. Was that like a 2.5 inch target or 3 inch target at 200 yards? It was
Yeah.
small.
It's
So
crazy small, yeah.
I think that was my favorite stage in the match. I got an 8 out of 10 on that one. I should have cleaned it, but I dialed the wrong dope on my first 2 shots, and I didn't catch myself. I saw my second shot go over the target. I'm like, okay, something is going on. And I ended up connecting with the rest of the troop lines for that stage. And then when I went to engage the KYL, I was holding, I think, a full mil of wind. So I did my best to read the plate, and then I ended up hitting the that smallest target. So that felt really good. That was my high. My low of that day was stage 1, just like Caleb. I got a 2 out of 10.
Hey man, I would have taken a 2.
And just like Caleb, I couldn't see anything. I was making bold corrections. I was trying to spot impact, trace, you name it. I can't see nothing. And I finally connected, and I think the last 2 shots I connected. But man, that was a rough stage for me. Day 1 is probably the worst, or not the worst, but like probably my low. And day 2, I was able to pick it up and do a lot better. So overall, the match was a lot of fun. I had my wife and I had Jack with me, who's 1 year old. So that was fun having my family over there just to support me. And I ended up coming in 6th overall in the series. So I want to congratulate Ronald Veron. He won the whole series, and Chris Simmons, who ended up winning the match. Man, those guys. I was in the super squad, and even with us helping each other with wind, not while we were shooting. You couldn't do that while you're shooting, but before.
Yeah. Right.
In between shots, like, we would spot for each other and give each other feedback. Even in being in the super squad, Chris Simmons just killed us. That guy is amazing. Like, I just want to give a hats off to that dude. He's an amazing shooter.
Yeah.
We're coming for you, Chris.
With the CZ.
Hey guys, so I have a guy named Oscar. He's a good friend of mine. He has a question. Any of you guys can answer this. How much time, hours per day, if any, do you guys practice during the week? Dry fire, range time, etc. And what drills do you use?
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I built a simple PRS barricade that's portable. So I have a game room upstairs, and out the back of our house is just like a pipeline, with the easement. So I can go 300 yards down, 400, 500 yards down. So I'll get up there in the game room, set the PRS barricade up, both rifles, and I'll practice my kneeling, loading into it, my bag placement, stuff like that. So I'll do that at home, dry firing. And then I try to go to the range once a week. I just went today, I went last week. And depending on what I want to practice, today it was 22 only because I'm waiting on a new trigger on my center fire, but or I'll do both. But again, a lot of dry firing, and don't discount dry firing. It's very important that you understand the feel of your trigger. But yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on ammo to practice with. It's good to practice with ammo, don't get me wrong, but dry fire really helps.
Yeah, that's good, Tony. I have this dry fire training system here in my little shop. So that's my main training, to be honest. I live in the city, so I don't really have a range in my backyard. I wish I did. So most of my practice this past year is just dry firing. And I would train with Caleb or Andrew every now and then, but most of my training is dry fire, maybe 15 minutes, three times a week, 15 to 20 minutes. And that really helps me with fundamentals and just building that muscle memory. The main reason why I dry fire is just mainly for muscle memory. And so that it becomes subconscious in my mind, so that when I'm shooting a match, I can just focus on spotting my impacts, a good trigger pull, and reading the wind. So my dry fire, it serves the purpose of ingraining those techniques so that it becomes subconscious for me. So that's my training routine, and sometimes live fire, but most of my live fire, to be honest, is during matches. That's it.
So for me, I kind of do the same thing as Tony and Chris. I have the indoor training system, and I have a little barricade in my garage that I use for dry fire. As far as timeline or time wise, I guess mine's a little bit different approach. So think of like weightlifting or weightlifters. They work out all year long, but they do a certain program leading up to a competition where they can peak at their competition. So I want to stay proficient, and I try to shoot, when I have time, and train when I have time. But when I know I have an important competition coming up, I dedicate more and more and more time to that dry fire training, to the live fire training. And I also try to make it harder each day. So I'll either shorten the time, I'll put more targets in there, I'll do only holdovers, more movement, stuff like that, so that when I do get to the competition, I should be peaking in my abilities. So that's just kind of how I do it.
That's pretty cool, man. I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
it worked out, I would say. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure did.
yeah.
What
How
about
about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I just got a indoor dry fire training system or whatever Chris has. He recommended it to me, but yeah, I kind of do something similar to what you do. I think I understood. You said you use the chairs. Is that what you said?
Oh, you're talking to me?
No, Tony. Did I hear you right? You use
Yeah, I use everything.
Yeah, I do
I'll use everything. I built a PRS barricade, but I'll use the countertop. I'll use Yeah.
I do the same thing here in my living room, and I'll just try to focus. Well, really what I try to do is I try to break a clean shot. I try to keep my wobble zone within the plate, whatever that is, and I try to keep my dry fire targets as small as possible and reduce my wobble zone. And what that is, in case somebody doesn't understand, is you see the reticle, you're looking through the scope, and let's say right now my face is the target, and you're moving because you're breathing or whatever. When you can reduce the wobble zone to where it's always on target, you can break a shot. And as long as your trigger press is clean, and you have good fundamentals, you're gonna hit the plate. And I'll practice on that, because that's what I struggled with initially, is finding a good balance, decreasing the wobble zone. I used to really focus on, hey, do I know my dope and those things, and that's more of, if you're just beginning, you want to make sure you practice out to distance. You don't want to you want to make sure that your data lines up with what you're actually seeing believe the target is what I'm getting at, right? Like if your Kestrel is telling you, or I like ballistics arc also, I use both. If ballistics arc tells me, hey, it's 8.2 mils at 1,000 yards, and I'm under the plate, don't assume that, hey, it's really 8.2. Make the correction and come up 0.3, go to 8.5. But once you're on paper there, then you can just practice going through whatever that is positionally or whatever. And then I do something a little bit different than what I've heard anybody do. I'll walk around with a Kestrel outside and practice calling the wind.
Yeah.
And I try to guesstimate based on what I see in the leaves in trees, and I try to guesstimate distance with my eye as I walk through the neighborhood or I drive around or whatever. So I probably look like a weirdo half my time, but those are the ways that I practice, and I dry fire a lot, you know. But probably, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes a day, if that.
Yeah, I think 15 to 20 minutes is a sweet spot, because I've heard that if you do too much training, it can backfire on you.
Mm-hmm.
You end up being worse.
Yeah, and if you train poorly, it shows up in the performance.
Yeah. I don't know who I heard that from. I think it was either Lenny Bisham or Dan Jiraki, but one of those guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say real quickly, that's a great point if you train poorly. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Understand how you should be set behind the rifle. Understand that if you go into the kneeling position, which knee should be up. And the fact is that you want to rest your elbow on your knee for greater stability. Practice on a barricade. But I want to bring up one other thing really quickly, Chris, and that is sometimes we only have ranges that are not like CCC shooting complex. They're regular ranges, right? You're in a booth, you're on a bench, and that's all you have. And you can't start at port arms and go to. So what I did at that type of range when I first got started was I would get behind the rifle, or I'd set the rifle down and I'd aim the rifle off the target, and I'd still be sitting at the bench. Then I would make myself get behind the rifle, get down on the rifle, make sure I was squared up, find the target, pull the trigger, and break the shot. So you can still practice that way, and you can still put a target at 50 yards, 100 yards, 150 yards, 200 yards. Put a target at all those yardages. And do that. Start with the rifle off the targets. You're going to shoot the 100-yard target, because one of the biggest things I see new people not doing is acquiring the target quickly. And to me, if you asked me, when I walk up to a stage, what's one of the first things I should be able to do? My answer to you is you should be able to place the bag, put the rifle on the bag, don't get behind the rifle, look over your rifle, make sure it's pointing at the target, then get behind the scope. And so many people don't do that basic thing. So it's the basic stuff like that I think you can train on. And you don't need, all of the props out at the range.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Tony, because there's a indoor range that I'll use here because I have a membership there for pistol, but I'll also zero my rifle there because it goes out to 80 something yards. And actually I met Chris there the other day so we could zero the rifle. But what I've done is I've talked to the ROs before and said, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to keep my rifle port arms, bag in hand, get down in a modified kneeling position of some sort, and I'll try to center punch. If you take like the old school orange and white diamond targets for whenever you're zeroing a rifle, and I'll try to center punch those targets just one at a time, but I had to break the shot within 10 seconds. And it's a good way to get meaningful practice and also conserve ammo at 100-yard range. And that's what is that drill? The craft drill?
Yep, craft from Chris Way.
Yeah, that's a good. You can look up the craft drill and do that, and you can do that on any 100-yard range. My recommendation is talk to the RO, let them know what you're going to do, and run them through what you want to do before you even touch the rifle. make sure the bolt's back, you know, empty chamber, no magazine, and say, hey, look, here's what I want to do with it. You know, walk them through it and make sure they understand after you've shown proficiency on the rifle. And usually they'll work with you unless there's just really strict. But, you know, you can practice for long range at 100 yards.
Paper don't lie.
Yeah.
Paper don't lie.
Mm-hmm. I think steel makes you lazy, but that paper will expose you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that right earlier, is that Caleb really taught me that at one of our practice sessions, that paper never lies. And as a matter of fact, you know, I've got the targets that I used last week. And, you know, if you are at a range that you can place these out at different distances, I mean, it really helps. It really helps.
Yeah.
That's really good. Even those simple drills, like the PRS barricade, if for a rimfire, shooting it at 50 yards, setting up like a 2-inch or 1-inch target and just shooting that over and over again, I think that will go a long way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark Pulver said, going back to the previous topic, he bumped his windage turret on the first day on that first stage that we were talking about and went 2 for 10. It was a great start. Let me tell you what, whoever started stage 1 and that day in the morning, I feel bad for them. But okay, I mean, Caleb, that was your second stage.
Yeah, that was my second stage of the day, and I was feeling pretty good coming off that helicopter with a 9 out of 10, and then just get slapped with a goose egg, a big 0. that was rough.
Oh man. All right, shall we move on to the next topic?
Sure.
So, what are you planning on doing to prepare for this upcoming season? I guess I think we hit some of that with dry firing and training, but is there other things that you plan on doing to prepare for the season? Like maybe you're gonna go to a training with JTAC or Modern Day or whatever you want to share.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to work on wind. That's my biggest today. Again, it exposed me. That's my biggest weakness right now, and that's why I'm using these paper targets. So I'm going down range, setting them at. I don't even measure the distance. I go down range. I look back. I hammer it in the ground. Go another however many yards that I walk, hammer it, and then I get back and I treat it as I don't even know what the distance is. But I mean, I'll shoot it, I'll range it, and then I set up from there. And but just really working on wind, working on seeing my first shot. I can't tell you how much I am working on breaking the first shot and staying there on it, both rimfire and centerfire. I'm trying to stay on that first shot. I don't care if I burn 3-4 seconds staying on that shot. I want to know what I'm doing. So that's really the wind is what I'm working on this year.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, Tony. I think spotting your own impacts, even like if you hit the target and being able to see where you hit it, so important, especially in that troop line. Let's say you hit it on the left edge, even though you got that impact on that first target. If you go on that next target, you're probably going to miss off the left edge because you didn't recenter up.
Yeah.
Training, I mean, wind training, I think we all need that. Yeah. Caleb, do you have anything specific you plan on doing for training?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little training up in Oklahoma with the JTAC guys. Gonna attend their class in March, and I've heard that's a really good class to do. I'm gonna work on the mental game more. I don't feel like I gave that enough work this year. I'm going to take it one shot at a time, one stage at a time, you know, one moment at a time, rather than going in and saying, I'm going to win this match, which is a good, you know, it's a good thing to, you know, believe in yourself. But I think I need to concentrate on each individual factor rather than just, you know, trying to force it.
That's good. One shot at a time. Andrew?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. So I've decided I'm gonna dedicate at least 1 weekend a month to a practice day, live fire practice, to help support my overall objective of getting better at reading the wind. And I'm gonna learn how to use my Kestrel. That's a joke between me and Chris. I actually found out I wasn't reading or I wasn't allowing the instrument to work at its optimal performance, I guess. You know, I would rather than having a win 1 and a win 2, you know, I just put a video up about it, so you can go on there and watch it. I don't want to bore you with 4 minutes of me talking about what I learned, but yeah, I want to just make sure I really understand all the equipment I own, know how to use it to the best of my ability and the ability of the equipment. And, you know, I just want to practice being consistent.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And I did take a modern day sniper
How about you, Chris?
positional course.
Yeah. For me personally, I plan on getting back into center fire. When I shot some center fire with Andrew this past 2 days ago, man, I pulled some shots. I'm not used to it. I would flinch because of the muzzle brake. I might shoot a suppressor to start with, to be honest. Because man, I was flinching. Like, I haven't shot center fire in like a year. So I think getting back into center fire is going to help me with reestablishing good fundamentals, because I feel like I've gotten lazy with fundamentals, shooting 22s. I think there's a lot of, especially with a heavy rifle, there's some things you can get away with on the 22s. So for me, shooting center fire is one of the main things I plan on doing to get myself better with doing 22 matches. The funny thing is, I've said this before, but a lot of people shoot 22s as a trainer for center fire, but for me, I'm going to use the center fire as a trainer for my 22 and just get back into basics, fundamentals, good trigger pull, recoil management, and I want to go back to the basics.
We had a 30-minute conversation, I think, right after that range trip, just about fundamentals, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think fundamentals are overrated. For me, sometimes I think that way. It's like, why are we talking about fundamentals? But man, it's not overrated. It's how you win matches. Like Jacob Bynum says, it's been putting metal to meat for the past hundreds of years. So fundamentals is the way to go. Of course, I want to be a better wind reader, and I feel like I'm used to my rifle now, and I've been shooting the same setup for the past year and a half. So for me, the problem is just getting back to the basics and reading wind for sure. Because during the finale, there was a few shots that I was very shaky on, and there's some shots, especially the mental game, like Caleb was saying, just focusing on one shot at a time. I just want to get back to basics mentally and technically. I think that's for me. I want to do a JTAC class eventually. I'm not sure when. Maybe sometime in this, maybe during the fall or summer. We'll see. But I have a good friend of mine named Dan Jarecki. He's my coach. So I talked to him. A few days ago. I went over his house, and we ended up just processing the finale. And so that was helpful, just to process it with him. And so yeah, just getting back to basics, I guess, for me.
Cool.
My wife tuned in. She's like, look at the camera. Hey, Rhoda. I think she's watching right now. I guess we could wind down. I know it's getting late. Do you guys have any thing you want to say before you wind down?
Yeah, I just wish you all lived closer, because I think the four of us could really have a blast together and could really put out some great content. So
Man, we need
we've
to
got
make
to
that happen. Yeah, we
Yeah.
really need to make that happen.
I think I'll make a trip down south for sure, just to have a range day and another chat. Like I'd be willing to make a day trip of it. And then if you want to make a trip up north, you know, you'd have a couple places to hang out at.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, Chris, I talked to Chris about it, but I think he said that your channel would probably be the better venue for it, since you like to break things down with metrics and, you know, from a really objective standpoint. I was kind of tossing around the idea of, we could take the cheapest of cheap rifles, shoot it at 50, 100, 150, 200, and then, you know, move up in price and so on and so forth until we get to the, you know, the $8,000–9,000 rifles, and break down how much accuracy gained versus price. Now we know it's not going to be, you know, the same accuracy gained with price, but it'd just be fun to see how much percentage wise you get for the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, I think you're the math guy. I think you'd do a better job doing that.
Tony, are you an engineer by any chance?
No, but I have a degree in mathematics, so that's why I always like all the numbers and stuff. So one of the things I studied was chaos theory. So the whole, you know, butterfly flaps its wings in South America, and the hurricane is, so all of that stuff, and the numbers just, I love the numbers of all this. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do what Caleb said and get together. I mean, all four of us, we should just, I don't know, get together and train just a whole day, a Saturday, and then we could even shoot that video that Caleb was talking about.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That'd be fun.
I guess I watch a lot of Shooter's Mindset.
Well, hey, Chris, thanks for putting this together.
Yeah. Oh, no problem, man. Do you guys have any just shout outs? I guess I'll start. I want to give a shout out to my wife, just for supporting me in this, and she's my biggest sponsor. So thanks, babe. And DI Precision for sponsoring me, and to you guys, you know, Caleb, Tony, I just met you this year, but you know, and Andrew, thank you guys for being my friend, and
Of course.
and training together. So that's my shout out. Caleb?
Oh, any closing thoughts?
Just shout out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my wife, she puts up with me and supports me in this. I call her my manager, because she really does take care of me. Like at the Gap Grind in Tennessee, it just poured rain on us for 2 days straight, and she kept all my gear dry. She kept everything in line. She'd load my magazines while I'm doing my dope chart, and she's just the best. And then meeting you guys, you know, befriending and training with each other, it was great. And you know, if anybody's watching that hasn't gone to a match yet, you know, go to a match and you'll meet some really good people, and you'll likely leave with a couple really good friends. So,
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna follow suit. I'm gonna give a shout out to my wife and kids and my dogs. And then I always enjoy hanging out and shooting with you guys. It's like second family, so it's a good time. Appreciate you all.
Appreciate you. Tony?
same here. Wife, she's my manager, my accountant, everything. So yeah, she's fantastic. And again, meeting you guys this year was great. Can't wait to do more with you this coming year. And again, to anyone who's new to this sport, please just first go to a match, see how it runs, go to 2 matches, go to 3 matches. Just see how they run, see what you want to spend on it to have fun and be happy, and then just go do it. It's a blast. It's a blast.
Yeah. I just love that all of us shout out our wives and just not wives plural, you know, one wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got what you meant.
No, but man, it's just a reminder for me whenever I look at my wife and my little Jack that life's not just about shooting, because I'm so competitive, and sometimes it's easy for me to put my identity in these competitions, but I feel like when I lose, that's when I learn the most, and I realized that I already won. I have a good wife. You know, I have a awesome 1-year-old boy who's growing up, and win or lose, man, I'm a winner. You know,
Life's good.
it's so helpful to have that.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys. Next time I'm gonna
All
try
right.
to get the YouTube set up.
Sounds good.
Ended up working out, but we should probably do this again. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down.
I guess if you guys don't have anything else to say, we'll close out. Y'all have a
Thanks, guys.
happy new year.
All right. Appreciate it.
Y'all take care. See ya.
Take care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.